Hello and welcome to another episode of Fresh Thinking by Snowden Optiro. I'm joined today by Laurie Hassall, Senior Geologist. My name's Julian Aldridge. We're going to be talking about cut-off grades and separating ore from waste. So in its simplest form, Laurie, what is a cut-off grade?
Well, in its simplest form, it's the grade at which a block makes profit and is considered ore. Below the cut-off grade, a block may be considered as waste. To put simply, the higher the cost to mine, the higher the cut-off grade. Vice versa. Whereas the higher the price, obviously the lower the cut-off grade.
Fantastic. So if you have a commodity that's increasing in price, it's likely that your cut-off grade as a functioning mine is going to decrease over time.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So my question is about the cost of extraction. Does that differ? Does that have an effect on cut-off grade?
Hugely. You mentioned obviously the metal price, commodity price. That has a huge effect on cut-off grade. But the cost at which you remove, you mine and process the ore is strongly affects the cut-off grade. So for example, with mining, mining costs. You can apply a flat mining cost rate, for example, or you can be more dynamic, apply a cost that perhaps increases with the depth of the open pit, for example.
Right. So simply put, it's a situation where it's very location dependent. If you're at surface and you're able to open pit mine it, you're likely to be able to do it at a much lower cost than underground, and therefore your cut-off grade is affected.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. And on the processing side, obviously that hugely affects the cut-off grade. So put simply, the more complex your process, the more the higher it costs to process and recover your commodity. See that's going to increase your cut-off grade.
So simpler ores have a lower process cost. A more complex or polymetallic ore is going to have a higher processing cost, generally speaking.
Very generally speaking. Yes.
Right. So, in terms of other variables, are there, what sort of additional variables would you put into a cut-off grade?
So you might also consider, transport costs of the concentrate or the product that you're selling. Also, G&A, the general running of the operation, also can affect the cut-off grade.
Mm-hmm.
So at various levels in terms of study, you have to understand those costs, with greater resolution.
Right. I understand you can also put capex into your cut-off grade in order to sort of recoup that.
Not just OPEX, but CAPEX. Obviously, for an operation that's starting out, often there's a huge outlay in terms of CAPEX in the very beginning, the life, the very beginning of the mine.
Yes.
Mine life, and often companies want to understand the point at which you pay off that initial outlay. So you can have a cut-off grade that's tailored to capex as well as capex as well. Right.
So from that, I'm guessing that there are different types of cut-off grade.
Yeah, absolutely there are. For example, the most simplest cut-off grade is a break-even cut-off grade. Often this is static, fairly flat. Your assumptions are fairly flat over the life of mine. Costs don't necessarily alter, but you apply all of your assumptions into a cut-off grade calculation equation.
So your break-even cut-off grade is literally the value that you get from your block of ore from sale of the concentrate minus all of your costs, mining costs, processing costs, general and administration costs.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So, Laurie, what about polymetallic ore bodies where you've got contribution from multiple metals?
Yeah.
How would you calculate a cut-off grade in that instance?
Yeah, so often the simple break-even cut-off grade that described a moment or so ago, that isn't applicable to deposits that have multiple commodities. So, for example, a copper, lead, zinc ore body, often the other commodities, the other metals require a different process, and that might mean different processing operating costs. So there's multiple variables that you've got to take into account when calculating cut-off grade for multiple commodities. So often, a bulk value might be used in that instance. So that the value of copper may be greater than the value of lead or zinc, based on obviously the price of copper, but also the different operating costs involved.
From my understanding of that, you would end up with a equation that would give you a dollar value for each block.
Yeah, dollar value. I mean, and that can be expanded on even further. So, for example, recoveries may vary between the different commodities, between copper, lead, zinc, using that as an example. So if you understand the different recoveries, you can plug those into a dollar value equation, and that can vary for each block within a block model. So for example, if your recoveries vary by commodity, but also vary by geometallurgical domain, for example, your recovery can vary spatially.
Right.
So that block value can then become quite dynamic in terms of considering geometallurgical.
I was just about to say that you end up with a dynamic cut-off grade.
Yeah.
Right. And that presumably can also change through time.
Yes, it can, absolutely. Obviously, metal price forecasts can change, but as can costs,
technological advances.
Recoveries. So it may be that initially you're mining for a weathered portion of the deposit. Recoveries may be lower, but deeper down you're into fresh rock. Recoveries may be higher. So that recovery and those operating costs can vary spatially and obviously dynamically. You can build that into a block model, and that equation can be inbuilt rather than a simple flat cut-off grade for the entire life of mine and the entire resource.
Right. All right. Okay, Laurie, thank you very much for that. Fantastic insight on cut-off grade. So this has been another episode of Snowden Optiro's Fresh Thinking. If you enjoyed this, look for more in our series. We've got tons on the YouTube channel and available via LinkedIn. And don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. All right. Thank you very much.